You're listening to the Sales Today podcast, and I'm your host, Fred Copestake. On this podcast, we explore how sales professionals can develop a more modern approach to selling, the application of virtual and hybrid selling techniques, how to create meaningful business relationships, and much more. And welcome to this edition of the Sales Today podcast, where I'm delighted to be joined by Dave Plunkett.
Hello.
Hello, Dave.
How you doing?
Good. Now then, Dave, you are the collaboration junkie. I go on about collaborative selling.
Mm-hmm.
It is clear that we were going to speak at some stage on the podcast, and we have spoken before. So it's the first time I've actually properly recorded stuff, though. So
Yes, yeah.
Gonna be
First of
fun.
many, I'd like to think.
Yeah. So the collaboration junkie. I mean, I talk about collaborative selling, and I use principles of collaboration in the way that people are going to do direct B2B sales. You're looking at collaboration slightly differently. So if you could just sort of explain exactly what that is, it'd be useful.
Yeah, so collaboration and partnerships is something that they're buzzwords, right? They get thrown around quite a lot. Yeah, more than a lot. But actually, I think like you, I look at them in a more practical sense. But whereas you look at them in terms of a sales approach, most of my work is within a lead generation piece. But that said, the framework that I've got and everything else, the rules do apply to collaborations in general, whether you're looking for leads, whether you're looking for profile, whether you're looking to work collaboratively in partnership with someone, whether you're looking for extra service providers to enhance your own offering. I think the principles are true throughout, and I think that's where, whether you're looking at sales, but whatever stage you're looking at, I think if you go into it with the right collaborative mindset, then that base level and that base approach will stand you in good stead, however you're looking to collaborate and drive partnerships. So.
Yeah, no, cool. I mean, buzzwords for sure. I mean, some people talk about partnerships; they don't mean it in the slightest. It's like, oh, let me look for people I can take advantage of, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, we let's rebrand our business development team. They're now partnership managers, and yeah,
different podcast, mate. Different podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you're gonna get me into one of my rants, and I'm like, how long have we got? So yeah, yeah.
Oh, they're there for Fridays. Fridays on LinkedIn, aren't they? No, but joking apart, the collaborative mindset. I mean, that's the bit where we're both coming at winning business from, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I talk about PQ. Saw Steve Dent's work, loved that. You kind of have some principles, I think you said, that you like to work to. So again, I'm fascinated on these. So I'm sure we can bake these into any sales approach.
Yeah, and I think the key components to a collaborative mindset for me, that the first of all, and it's the most important one, is getting yourself into this headspace where you understand that what's best for you isn't what's best for you right in that very moment. It's what's best for everybody, whether that's a one-on-one collaboration, which it may be in a sales process, or whether it's a broader partnership. I think the key component of that mindset is just appreciating that what's best for the greater good, and I really struggle saying that without thinking of Hot Fuzz, the greater good. But in all seriousness, it's understanding that what's best for the collective as a whole, however many people are in that collaboration, is what's best for you. Because what we want long-term sustainable relationships, because they're more enjoyable, they're more impactful, they're more profitable, they're just more of everything that you would want from a relationship. And you only get that when you think long-term and you think about what's going to be right for everyone combined. And I think that's the fundamental pillar of a collaborative mindset. And actually, I think that comes across really well in your hybrid selling book. I can see over your left shoulder. I don't know, it's all flipped on Zoom. And I think that's fundamental to it. And I think if you don't get your head around that, then you're going to struggle with any of the more practical character traits, I think. And I think that's the first step for me.
Okay, so it's interesting you said, and I think it's very deliberate, where you said in a given moment, because from what I understood with that, it's like, kind of, well, yeah, I know partnership's good, but it could be a time that I'm under pressure or something, and it's like, okay, I need to shift this for me.
Yeah.
Am I right in kind of reading into that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because, and yeah, there might be a brilliant opportunity for you to massively capitalize, and it's very tempting to do that, particularly especially in the sales environment, maybe whether you're target driven or as a business owner. But it's understanding that maybe just if it's not right for all parties, then yeah, you might get that quick win there and then. But is it really going to deliver you? Is it the best thing to do that delivers those results on a consistent basis in the long term? Is it going to is the activity you do right now going to form the foundation of a true collaboration and partnership, which is where everyone wins, and the product of the collaboration is greater than the sum of its parts, and all that wonderful stuff that only happens when you are taking that broader view of what's right for everyone. But agreed, it can be tempting to take that quick win, right? Because and it's a human, and it doesn't mean a collaborative mindset doesn't mean that we don't think that. It doesn't mean that we don't have those thoughts. That's human nature to look at what's in it for us. It's about putting kind of process and checks and things in place to just go, right, yeah, I know that would be great for me, but actually is this part of the long-term strategy?
Yeah, no, I love that. And certainly, yeah, salespeople who do get put under pressure, end of quarter, and you get out there, do it, squeeze every little bit, but with what impact is that going to have longer term?
Yeah,
I love that. So number one is kind of what's best for everyone.
yeah.
And what other elements do we need to be looking at then?
Okay, and so within that piece, what I think helps create that mindset is the first one, and it's another. We may as well be playing buzzword bingo today because it's honesty, right?
Yeah.
But there's two strands to this. It's being honest with whoever you're looking to collaborate with, but in order to do that, you've got to be honest with yourself. You've got to be really honest with yourself about what you're looking to get from this relationship. Because the more honest you are with your collaborators at the outset, if everyone's really honest about what they would ideally like, not everyone might be able to get their absolute prime objective, but you can make sure that everyone gets as close to their own ones as possibly can. If you try and mask what your true objective is, well, you're not really getting things off on the right foot, and you're probably not going to get the delivery of what you really want. So I think being absolutely honest about what you're looking to get from something, and then being honest with your collaborators, both about what you're looking to get, but also about what you're able to deliver for them. Again, it's very easy to fall into the trap of over-promising and under-delivering, which, again, isn't a great look in a partnership.
Is that the same as transparency then? I mean, could we just flip words, or would you say transparency is a different thing?
Yes and no. So I think in some instances it's the same thing, but you could be transparent about what's going on in any given situation, but you haven't been honest about the actual fundamental driver of what's causing whatever's going on. But yeah, I think so. I think it's they can be interchangeable in the right circumstances. I think absolutely.
Yeah. No, so okay. So stick with honesty then. Honest with yourself. And so this sounds like something to do with communication. Now tell me if I'm about to spoil some of the other elements of the framework. But I'm guessing that this is where you talk about, I can't expect the other parties to know what I want. Oh, tell them. Yeah. Is that part of it? Does that fit in under that part? Or is
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a proper framework for partnerships, which is dance, and kind of, I'm not going to try and shoehorn everything in around that, but under my N is nurturing, which is all about communication. But that communication starts right from the very outset, and that setting of expectations around both around practical stuff and short-term and mid-term and long-term goals. And if you're not honest with your partner about what you're looking to achieve, how are they going to help you work towards that? And the same works both ways. Like never assume you know what the other party's looking for. There's a great question that I like to get people to ask, and I've used it all my life in various roles, and it's what does success look like for you? Yeah. And because unless you ask that, then how do you know? And if you don't know what success looks like for the other person, well, how can you deliver against that? You're fighting a losing battle from day one. So
Yeah, you start to put your own filters on that, and they could be totally different, and it really isn't what you think it will be.
And even if it's not totally different, there's like a degree of separation. So if you start out 5%, let's say it's only 5%, I'm going to try and get my angles right here, apart, then it's kind of over time, that 5% just gets, and over time it's not a 5% difference, it's a huge, great chasm. And that's often what you'll find when you're in a partnership or a collaboration or a joint venture or whatever means of collaboration it is. And it started off great, and then over time, something just starts to not feel quite right, and that's because you haven't, right at the very start of that process, you haven't uncovered what everyone's really looking to get from the partnership, and you haven't, and you not only have you not uncovered it, you haven't set expectations around how these things are going to be achieved. And so I think it's a real crucial part. And it starts with that honesty piece about being honest about your own intentions and honest with the other party, and looking for that from them as well. So,
I love that. Love that. Okay, so what's best for everyone? Honesty. What else?
So, I mentioned very briefly kind of systems and processes and checks, because we can all want to be more collaborative, okay? And there's frameworks we can follow. There's things we can do. We can just be more that way. But as we mentioned earlier, particularly under pressure, we are only human. So I think it's about putting systems and processes in place that make sure that early on and then throughout a relationship, that we keep coming back to this thing around looking what the other person is trying to get out of this. And so the systems and process side is things like having proper checklists when you're doing your initial conversations and getting those expectations in place. It's about making sure that you've got formal reviews for your collaborations on an ongoing basis. So even if you're chatting day to day, there's something much more powerful about going, no, at this point, we're going to stop and we're going to have a completely removed conversation from the day to day about the partnership as a whole. And you go back and you can reflect on those original kind of goals that you had and make sure that that you're still aligned and that the priorities are still the same, and adjust them if necessary. No one says that everything has to stay the same, but you do need to know what you're looking for at the outset, so that you've got something to measure against ongoing. And so I think that having systems and processes that help drive the more natural conversations is fine and encouraged, and something we should all be doing. So it's about being really, really systematic about this stuff. Like collaborations and partnerships are lovely, friendly, enjoyable, wonderful ways to work, but that doesn't mean they don't need to have process and structure behind them that allow you to do the fun stuff.
No, I like that. I know I can totally relate to that. If I haven't got a system, I get quite anxious. I don't like it. But when it's there, then I can relax into it, and you can do the fun stuff.
Yeah,
you can really concentrate on doing the bits that you're good at almost. Yeah, that makes sense. Good. Oh, this is cool. And that, by the way, I mean, I'm listening to all these things. I'm going, right, a B2B salesperson, so is one I might be talking to. Are they starting to turn off this podcast and going, that's not relevant to me? Or are they going, actually, that's me too?
Yeah.
And if anybody's about to turn off because they're not thinking it's you, I would suggest you're missing the point.
Yeah, and I think it works both ways. I do a lot of work with business owners.
Yeah.
But any business owner who thinks they're not a salesperson, well, up to a certain level kind of thing. Yeah. But if you're an SME business owner, then you're a salesperson, or you've got an expensive hobby. And so I think it absolutely relates across the board. So yeah.
No, that thinking certainly does. Go on, let's carry on with this thinking then. I'm enjoying this.
Okay.
Enjoying this. Yep, all resonating.
Okay, so I'm going to divert back to my dance framework actually, because that does give some easy points.
As soon as you said it, I said I need to know it. I love a good framework.
So we've done them in kind of course you do. So we've done them in a slightly weird order. So so A was assembly, which is your systems and your processes, and we've touched on communications with your partners, which was the N. So I'm going to go right back to the beginning and do the D, which is discovery. And so the honesty bit absolutely does come in there. There's a piece around values around there, But an easy way to be more collaborative is to make sure you're collaborating with the right people in the first place. Okay, and it's again looking at those immediate opportunities. We can sometimes be going, right, they've got something I want, whether it's a potential sale, or whether it's a big bunch of your potential audience that you want to be able to sell to. And I'm not saying that we don't work with a multitude of people and we don't try and collaborate with lots of people, but if you have really clear in your mind who an ideal partner, collaborator, prospect may be, that you know you're going to collaborate with, and not just because you know why you want to collaborate with them, but you really, really understand the value proposition of why they would want to collaborate with you. And it's not the value that you deliver to their audience, it's the value that you deliver, it's the way that you deliver value to their audience, the way that value reflects back to them. Then that's a way that immediately gets your whole collaboration off on the right foot. So many people who make partnership approaches make their approaches with a hi XYZ, we should really talk because I do this wonderful thing that your audience will really love, and it just screams, I want to sell to your audience. Whereas actually going, hi XYZ, we should probably talk because I do some great work with people like you, and it helps that we help you deliver value, extra value to your, I think it might be the red arrows or something going overhead there, sorry.
Love the red arrows.
But if you talk about the way that you help them add value to their audience, rather than the value you can deliver direct to their audience, then just that, it's the subtlest of changes, but it makes an absolute world of difference, because right from the outset, you're showing you're thinking about them, not how you can get at their audience. And so I think right at the very start, thinking about how am I adding value to this person, not what's in it for me, essentially, is it's a small change, it's a small difference in language, but it makes, yeah, as I said, it makes a world of difference.
Make them look good. They're the hero.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's the same. You know, that's again what we would train salespeople to do. It's like, it's not about you. Stop trying to be the center of attention. Make the other person look good. And you're saying it's kind of make them look good with the stuff that you're delivering, almost like on their behalf.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. That's discover. Cool. What else?
So we've got discovery, assembly, nurturing. So C is connection. And in my world, in kind of the partnership lead gen space, this is all about helping your partner connect their audience with you. But in broader sense, it's about helping whoever you're collaborating with to do what you want them to do. Because so many people will kind of start collaborations and they'll plan world domination and they'll get super excited about it, and then they'll go away and they'll wait for things to happen, and then they'll wait for some more things to happen, and then kind of nothing does happen. And so it's about going, particularly in the lead gen space, it's about making it easy for your partner to do what you want them to do, giving them all the tools they can, whether that's marketing materials or internal sales support, or in any collaboration, it's what tools do I have, either external stuff or what knowledge and experience have I got, that if I gave to my co-collaborator, they could do something easier. And share it. Share away. Knowledge is one of the most wonderful things in the world. You can give and give and give it and you still retain it. So like, be free with your knowledge with your collaborators. Do everything you possibly can so that they feel supported, because we're all busy people, busier than ever, which means we're all inherently lazy. And I don't mean sitting on the sofa lazy. I mean, if something isn't part of our core activity, if it's not easy for us to do, we've got to take real effort, whether that's physical or mental effort to do it, it will get parked on that I'll get round to that pile. And the get round to that pile doesn't get round to all that often because we are all so busy. So the easier you make it for your collaborators and potentially a prospect, the easier you make it for your partners, collaborators, prospects to make that next step and do whatever it is you want them to do, do it. And the likelihood is that the next time you collaborate with someone, you'll need to do that same thing again. So you doing it once means that you can rinse and repeat that effort over and over and over again. And so that making it easy part, I think, is absolutely crucial in successful collaborations.
No, I agree. Yeah, I'm thinking back to when I've done this stuff and sort of, yeah, Drinks World or whatever, where an attractive partner is actually attracted to a lot of people. They get a lot of offers. They'll probably accept a lot of stuff. They're still busy. The one who makes it easier, they're going to win the sort of the brain space. They're going to be the ones which will have their stuff done, if you like, because
Yeah,
well, I say it's easy. Yeah.
yeah. Most of my partnership experience was actually providing leads for other big corporate brands that wanted access to the SME market. We partnered with people like Regis and Volvo and Yell, and then smaller brands as well. And the amount of times that we'd get marketing materials through that we needed to promote, and we had to go in and change all the copy because they sent it to us like it was them sending it direct out to an audience. So we had to go and change the tone and everything else. Now it's not big work, right? But it's annoying.
Yeah.
And you don't want your collaborators, your partners annoyed with you, because then when someone else picks up the phone to them who does something similar to you, they're more likely to take that phone call. And so just make it easy. Do as much of the heavy lifting as you possibly can, and you'll form stronger relationships that are more successful.
Yeah, brilliant. There's something I definitely want to come on to, but I'm just making sure. Have we covered the mindset stuff? Have we done the dance?
Yeah, I think we probably have actually. So the mindset stuff, absolutely. I think we're probably into more practical tools now. The E in the dance is engagement, and that's going out and getting partners. And if you've done it's the bit that people think is like the really hard bit. But actually, if you've done the other 4 pieces right, going out and finding people to collaborate with actually becomes pretty easy, to be honest with you. So yeah.
Or is it the one which people want to do? Because I mean, I certainly know from international days, it's great, let's go and jump on a plane, let's go around and see people and talk to them and make lots of friends. Basically, that's kind of what you're doing, but not much else, and you're not ready, not partner ready.
It's why I purposely. So even before I kind of had my nice analogy, which all value sharers need to have, and you've got 2, haven't you? And I know your love of a framework because you have other people's within the book as well as, and I love the way you feed them all together. It's brilliant. But even when I didn't have the framework, I just had the knowledge. I always had that going out and getting partners piece right at the very end because people want to jump to it, but particularly when you've done the discovery bit at the start of who is your ideal partner, people are like, right, how do I go and get them? And it's like, well, exactly. You get them by doing all this other stuff right, and you don't necessarily need to have it all in place. If you've got a roadmap for it being developed, then you can go out and start having those conversations, confident that you know what you're going to be doing. But yeah, purposely at the end, always. Yeah.
Well, the bit I want to talk about, as I suspect people who are listening to this ears are pricking up at, is when you're saying lead gen. Lead gen. You're going to tell us how to get more leads. That was a question, actually. You are going to tell us how to get more leads.
I can.
Please.
Absolutely, I can. And that's the types of partnerships where I spend most of my time. It's where I've got most of my experience, both in terms of growing a business, but then, as I said, more providing leads to others. And it's a real soapbox subject of mine because outside of the kind of the IT sector, where channel sales is obviously huge for almost all other sectors, it doesn't get the attention it deserves. And when I say partnership, I just should make this clear. I don't necessarily mean and in most instances, I don't mean a formal JV. Yes, there might be a partner agreement signed around commissions, but it's around finding another individual or business where there is a values match and where they're talking to your audience about something congruent, and it comes back to that discovery piece and it's about where the value that you deliver in some way, directly or indirectly, enhances that partner's offering as well. Because when you tick those boxes, they will want to refer you on a consistent basis. There's a other than any financial reward that may be there is a real additional reason for them referring you on a consistent basis, and they're referring the right clients at the ideal time for you to close them quickly. And so I think partnerships fits into this really. Absolutely, it's a marketing channel, but I think it's a a really unique one in that it sits perfectly bridges between marketing and sales, because it's delivering pre-qualified leads, which is the dream for any salesperson, right? And my soapbox subject is that it doesn't get the attention it deserves. Referrals and word of mouth is the oldest form of marketing out there. Before people could even write, they were doing word of mouth, and yet people don't spend their time on it. They sorry for that. Not that my 8-year-old has just delivered a nice pint of squash to me in this boiling hot weather. So
they knew the rant was coming.
pick an acronym, PPC, SEO, whatever it may be, and we'll invest our time and our money and our energies into that. And it just feels that there needs to be the balance should be shifted, because for most businesses, particularly in B2B, referrals and networking will still be their main source of new business and inbound leads. And so taking a really strategic look at this is a way of just amplifying what for a lot of businesses is quite ad hoc into something that's scalable and repeatable and dependable, and getting somewhere near to the kind of the channel sales piece that we see in things like the IT sector.
Yeah. The only other one I think, drinks as well. Would tend to, smaller brands would tend to go through distributors, wholesalers. They need to do that kind of thing. But yeah, no, you're right. It's, if you're clever enough, I think so. If I'm interpreting this right, if you're clever enough, you should be able to find people that are interested in similar sort of things, and you can do this stuff together and make each other's lives way easier.
Yeah, I'll give you an example.
Thinking about it differently.
Yeah, absolutely. An example I give is from it was a business community I was a part of, and there was someone in there who was a telemarketer, very good telemarketer, so deals with big campaigns, and she was launching a partnership program, looking for referral partners, and was pushing the commission side of it. And she was looking at people who did inbound leads, so things like SEO, pay-per-click, and things like that. And she got the positioning all wrong, because the reason why those people actually wanted to partner with a telemarketer was because they're bringing loads of leads in, but they're judged on that a bit, but the quality of those leads is really judged about how well they're closed, right? And so by working with a telemarketer that they knew was good, rather than leaving the company up to closing those leads, it meant that they could be more confident in the leads being converted, which made their overall service look better, which meant the company not only continued to work with them, but probably invested a little bit more money in the work they were doing as well. And so where you can find that relationship that's completely symbiotic, where there is a real value play there, and yes, there's normally commissions involved, and I think there should, in most instances, I think there should be. It keeps it a commercial relationship. But the real value is when you understand how that ecosystem works, and you understand that you can be a vital cog in something that becomes far greater than those people working individually.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, and ecosystems is another hot term now, isn't it?
Oh no!
To be honest, every term is hot now, some way, shape, or form. That does make sense. And hopefully, again, people I know listening to this are in different sectors, different industries. Some IT, some drinks, but some others. And they might be thinking, oh, it's not anything we've even thought about. So you're doing your job. I mean, that's why you're here to talk about that. But I mean, you when we were chatting before, you were saying that people are sometimes a little bit reluctant to do this, though. And you kind of, it doesn't really make sense, really. But why is that?
Right. So I think there's a variety of reasons depending on the individual. There is sometimes it can be a reluctance. Some people just don't like relying on other people. Some people, where there is too good a match, worry that there might be a competitive element there. Going back a couple of years ago when COVID first hit, and collaboration was a word that everyone was using, and I saw a few things around, there's no such thing as competition, only collaboration. And I'm like, give over, like, that's just so ridiculous. What it's about is being about grown up enough to know, you know what, there's a really good opportunity to collaborate here. And all right, we might compete on the odd little bit of work here and there, but there's enough for everyone, and with different personality types. the value in being collaborators the rest of the time far outweighs that small piece where we might be competition. So I think some people still have that quite closed mindset. In my experience, though, the vast majority of people who don't look to partner or collaborate is because they've done it before and it hasn't worked. And it's probably because they haven't done it strategically. They've not put that connection piece that I put in place and that I mentioned about the nurturing, that this takes time. They've had great meetings, they've shaken hands, and then nothing's really happened because of it. There's been over promises and under delivery and all that things. And people, oh yeah, that doesn't work. Tried that, doesn't work. Which again, you wouldn't do that on any other type of marketing or any other type of lead generation. You'd go, if it's a Facebook ads or you try that ad, it didn't work. Go, we've done something wrong there. Let's tweak and test and measure. And partnerships are no different. It's just they're human relationship led rather than content material led things.
So that's kind of a paradox, isn't it? That's the beauty of them, and that's kind of the weakness. I guess. I'm trying to picture the sort of thing you said. Yeah, you've met a guy, golf club, and a good old person, or a networking meeting or something, and yeah, we can work together, and we want to. Why? Because we like them, and we're trying to help each other and do this, and yeah, we're going to it, and off we go. No format, no framework, no nothing to it. Just perhaps quite good intent, but it's always going to fall flat because it's built on sand, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's that setting expectation piece right at the start. Like, what are we looking to do here? How are we looking to do it? And not every relationship is going to be like that. You might have some that are loose, that are kind of a bit more like, oh yeah, we'll do this thing here and there and see how it happens, and that's fine. But if you really want to use this as a proper channel in your business to get high quality leads on a consistent basis, well, you don't get high quality leads without putting some effort in. Right, so that's what you need to do.
Oh right, yeah, that makes sense. So okay, we're talking downside a little bit. Any other things on the flip side, or stuff that might make the partnerships go wrong?
Yeah. So the setting expectations is a key one. I'm going to come back to that honesty thing. The honesty and communication piece. It's where there are troubles, and not even necessarily troubles, just maybe even if there's a sniff that there could be something that could go wrong, that's the time to mention it in advance. And I think so. I think it is all about the communication. It's really simple stuff, but it's just lots of simple stuff layered on top of each other. Is how you get to a successful partnership. So it's about those expectations at the start, and then it's just honest and open communication throughout. Like sometimes there will be factors outside of your control that just mean a partnership just doesn't work. And even when you do all the things that I suggest, well, not every partnership will work. You can think that it's going to land brilliantly with an audience. I suppose in the same way that you look at collaborative selling, you could do absolutely everything right with that prospect. But there still could be something that means you don't get that sale. It's the same with any type of collaboration. There are going to be some that just don't work, and you can't put your finger on it. But more often than not, there's something in that framework, in that chain, where there's a point where you're going, yeah, you know what, we should have probably communicated that bit better, or done that thing a little bit better. Yeah.
But if you're doing all the things to make it work, it is less likely to fail.
Oh, it's much more likely to work. Yeah.
On the upside for trying, by the way, is way outweighs, doesn't it?
Oh, massively. Yeah, hugely. And it's compound. Well, see, it's like a buzz topic, compound, whether it's but partnerships are common because you set up one and it builds and it grows and it builds, and then you set up another one that's adding on top. So they're much more effort up front, particularly if you're just starting out a partnership channel, because there's probably a whole load of content you've got to produce and everything else, and systems and processes to set up. But once that's done, like it's not quite rinse and repeat, because no one partnership is the same, but they're not bespoke. They're tailored. They're a tweak on a proven variation of what works. So it's the long tail is huge. So.
No, I'm just thinking. Yeah, well, you sort of do the hard yards early on, and you can use that again and again. You got a template. and you get better at it. You learn from your mistakes, you learn from your successes, you feed that into the way you're operating, you get good at partnering.
Yeah, absolutely. Continual improvement, and new things happen, new things emerge, and you use those, and you test and measure and learn, and all the things that you would do in a sales process. The metrics you do in a partnership. It's
I mean, that's why for me it's so interesting is to take the partnering concepts and put them into sales. And you're saying, well, it does everything you said. I think someone should be able to listen to go very similar, very, very similar. Maybe apart from the formality of we're using it to lead gen, but the thinking is right. A guy called Rick Adams, that I got a lot of time for, he talks about in customer success management, who says, if you're going to sell to somebody, essentially they are a partner anyway, whatever way, shape, or form you're selling. So you might as well start thinking like it. Which I like. Cool. So are they sales or marketing? Does it actually matter?
No, I don't think it. I think as long as you have the right mindset about the fact that what you're looking to do is you're looking to add value to your partner's audience, or directly to your partner if you're collaboratively selling, you're looking to add value to them in a way that you get value back. And as long as as long as you've got that value, that partner first mentality, then I don't think it does matter. And in the outside of the sales space, I think it massively varies in what you're looking to get from that partnership, whether you want qualified leads, or whether you want exposure, or whether you want credibility by association, or whether you want service enhancements. Being clear on why you're looking to partner is the key thing. But does it make a difference if it's sales and marketing? No, I don't think it does. And anything that bridges the gap, I think is probably a good thing.
It is a good thing. Yeah. Maybe this is the thing that bridges the gap. Mind you, it's not going to work if sales and marketing are fighting that much. What's the chance of having the customer's best interests at heart? He's starting off.
We can try. Look, we can try. Maybe they'll listen to this and their minds will be opened. And
that is it. That's what's going to bring us together. Partnering's the glue. Very cool. Very cool. So, what have I not asked you about partnering I probably should have done? We've talked mindset, we've talked framework. It's partnering first, it's intent, it's then prepping the stuff to do the job well, it's communicating all the way through. They're the kind of the main messages.
So I'm going to I suppose I think we've covered the broad framework piece. We went through it. I think I'm going to give. We didn't really touch much on engagement, which is going out there and getting partners, other than that's the easy part once you've done all that stuff.
Yep.
I think a really, if you're looking for genuine partners, so rather than prospects who you're going to treat as partners, if you've got a real genuine partnership angle somewhere, then my top tip on going out and finding partners is ask your network. It seems really bloody obvious, right? But if you ask your network for referrals for a client or a prospect, and we should all do it, and I do lots of work with people on their referral processes, unsurprisingly, but it's still quite hard for someone to refer you, because they know that no matter how well someone sells, no matter how collaborative they are in their selling technique, if I refer someone to someone for a client, then you know that person's going to be sold to. So it immediately makes it a harder referral to make. If you've really nailed your value proposition around why you want to partner with someone referring you to a potential partner is the easiest thing to do all day long. People will just do it because they're not introducing someone for someone to be sold to. They're introducing someone because there's a genuine opportunity for them to be part of this value driven ecosystem. And so yeah, it seems really, really simple. But if I was going to give a tip for going out and getting partners, it's use your network, and from there you get case study and testimony, which then makes it easier to grow. And I suppose if there was any other, outside of the stuff we've covered, if there was anything else that I would use as a tip that I say to a lot of people in terms of, and this is in terms of getting going, and I think this is one that definitely applies in the sales space as well, or I'd be interested in your thoughts on this actually, Fed, is start small. Just do something that gets going, because so many people, when they find someone that they want to collaborate with well, or maybe it's a prospect where you can do everything with them, you plan out what everything looks like, and that's great. Do big picture, it's awesome, it's fun, it gets everyone excited. But sometimes we can get so lost in the big picture that nothing ever happens, nothing gets off the ground. If you can find that one thing to get going, well, then you do something, and people start. When you do something, the doing continues and momentum builds, and that's one great bonus of that. The second one is, no matter how much due diligence you've done, and the partner seems like a great person and everything else, nothing beats actually working with them to see what it's like. So that, I think that starting small thing in collaborations of all sorts, I think is a really important one, and one that I wish I'd learn much sooner than I did. If I think about some of the brilliant collaborations that were on the table when I was running my membership organization that never kicked off, and because we were just looking at the big play, it's crazy. So
that is great advice anyway, isn't it? Because it gets that impetus going. It's something new. It's a little bit out of comfort zone, a little bit frightening, but we've done something. Hey, we're making progress. Impetus is going now. We're learning. It's worked. Get a case study. We can go bigger with it now. Yeah. And as you say, it compounds, it grows.
Trust builds and everything else. And I
love that. Oh, that's a cracking piece of advice. Mate, you clearly know your collaborations. I knew that. That's why I asked you on. But how can people get in touch with you? Because I know we are just scratching the surface actually with you here. There's loads more, and you do put a lot out there for people to learn from. So best way to get in touch.
Yeah, so LinkedIn's a good place to come and find me. I doubt there are that many Dave Plunketts, and there's definitely only one Dave Plunkett collaboration junkie. So you'll see my face and all that stuff you see on LinkedIn. So come and connect with me there, would be great. And then website, which is kind of semi under construction at the moment, getting a bit of a relaunch. But when's this coming out? Maybe I'll have to re-edit that back. Website has just been relaunched. But yeah, head over to
website's crashed from overuse from everyone who's
collaborationjunkie.com. And there's blog posts and downloads and all that wonderful stuff, and but connect on LinkedIn's a really great way. Always love talking to people about this stuff. So really open to that.
No, that's clear. And as I say, plenty of value. As I say, people who are looking for the pure collaboration, pure partnership, but even if you want to sort of tap in and understand the dance framework better, I suggest it's an interesting conversation. We'll put those links. We'll put those links into the show notes as well.
Yeah, down below.
So, down below.
Awesome.
Oh, mate, excellent. Thanks so much for taking time to come along and have a chat. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, it's been great. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Awesome.